Question 1. Given the circumstances, Ahmed is managing a checkpoint security management server SMS deployed in a high availability cluster using the primary secondary model. Recently, during a routine failover test, Ahmed observed that the secondary SMS did not take over properly and was stuck in initializing state. Logs show no critical kernel errors and disk space is adequate. Which of the following should be Ahmed's first course of action? Ensure future failover events function as expected. A. Reboot the secondary SMS to reset its connection to the HA cluster. B. Manually promote the secondary to active using cpstart and cfastUp commands. C. Verify SIC status between the primary and secondary using cpconfsec and re-establish trust if needed. D. Run HACLI S to sync HA cluster state from the primary to secondary. Answer. Correct answer, C. Verify SIC status between the primary and secondary using cpconfsec and re-establish trust if needed. Explanation. In an SMS setup, secure internal communication SIC is critical for state synchronization between the primary and secondary. If SIC is broken or untrusted, the secondary SMS cannot retrieve policies or database revisions, causing it to hang in the initializing state while rebooting. Forcing HA might temporarily mask the issue. The underlying SIC problem must be resolved. Checkpoint security management architecture per Checkpoint RX admin guide mandates the validation of SIC trust cpconfsec before performing other cluster recovery operations. HACLI S is more relevant in full sync after the trust is confirmed. Question 2. When analyzing a network slowdown, which of the following SecureXL components is directly responsible for accelerating the forwarding of packets at the network layer, bypassing the kernel for known connections? A. CPass, BBEOS. C. FFPath. D. FastPath, Accelerated Path. Answer. Correct answer, D. FastPath, Accelerated Path. Explanation. SecureXL's FastPath, also known as Accelerated Path, is used to bypass the firewall kernel model DBA for established, trusted sessions. This allows packets to be forwarded at high speed directly from the NIC, significantly improving performance to DBA in slower rule evaluation paths such as the FF forward to firewall path. CPass is related to connections that require encryption or inspection. As per SecureXL guide in Checkpoint R.10, proper usage and tuning of FastPath directly correlates with latency reduction and throughput optimization. Question 3. From the perspective of logging and monitoring, Rachel has configured Smart Event for real-time correlation. However, she notices delayed reports and incomplete event data. After verifying storage, connectivity, and the Smart Event policy, what advanced checks should Rachel perform to diagnose the issue further? A. Run a TWLC start on the security gateway. B. Check the correlation unit. ELG logs on Smart Event server for event processing status. C. Restart SmartView Monitor and Smart Event GUI clients. D. Disable IPS temporarily to reduce event volume and improve performance. Answer. Correct answer. B. Check the correlation unit. ELG logs on Smart Event server for event processing status. Explanation. When Smart Event logs appear delayed or incomplete, one advanced method is to review the correlation unit ELG file to determine whether the Smart Event correlation unit is processing logs as expected. This log shows queue delays, parsing issues, and connection loss with log servers. As per Checkpoint's Smart Event admin guide, relying solely on GUI restarts or services TWLC start doesn't reveal internal correlation engine failures. Disabling IPS is inappropriate unless it's conclusively overwhelming the system. Question 4. During the process of troubleshooting NAT issues, what is the most effective method to determine whether a packet is being translated correctly by the security gateway? A. ECC dump on the external interface to view translated packets. B. UFWNSO with pre-NAT and post-NAT inspection points. C. Use Smart Console's NAT rule-based visualization. D. Use NetStat. Enter monitor translation table on security gateway. Answer. Correct answer. B. UFWNSO with pre-NAT and post-NAT inspection points. Explanation. FWNSO is the most powerful tool for packet-level NAT troubleshooting by placing capture points at I before inbound, I after inbound, O before outbound, and O after outbound. Engineers can trace exact NAT behavior tcdump may show only external traffic but cannot verify internal translation steps. According to Check, NAT troubleshooting with typepfw is explicitly designed to validate NAT transformations. Netstat does not reveal NAT information in checkpoint. Question 5. Through careful analysis of policy installation, security engineer Naomi has noticed that accelerated policy installations are inconsistent across security gateways. She suspects some firewalls are reverting to full policy installs. What factor could be preventing accelerated policy install on some devices? A. Large policy rule base over 1000 rules. B. Gateways are not in a cluster-XL setup. C. Dynamic objects used in multiple policies. D. Unsupported features like IPS or threat emulation in the policy. Answer. Correct answer. C. Dynamic objects used in multiple policies. Explanation. Accelerated Policy Installation API averages differential updates to push only policy changes, but it is disabled when certain non-deterministic objects like dynamic objects are used. These objects may vary during runtime, making partial installs unsafe. According to a checkpoint R security management architecture, policies using DYN or externally modified objects require full policy compiles. IPS for emulation don't block accelerated installs unless improperly configured. Cluster-XL is unrelated to this behavior. Question 6. In light of recent developments, Ista Ricardo is troubleshooting a checkpoint remote access VPN deployment where multiple users are reporting negotiation timeout errors. He confirmed that endpoint clients are updated and correctly configured. Firewall rules are also verified. Which of the following is the most likely cause of the issue? A. Port 500 blocked on upstream NAT device. B. ICAP is not supported in checkpoint remote access. C. DNS resolution failure to the internal domain. D. Map multiple entry point is not enabled. Answer. Correct answer A. Port 500 blocked on upstream NAT device. Explanation. Like phase 1 negotiations in remote access VPA OP 500 and sometimes 4500 for NAT-T. If up to 500 is blocked by ISP routers or upstream NAT devices, the negotiation fails with timeout errors. This is explicitly documented in Checkpoint Remote Access VPN Admin Guide. ICAV is supported. ENS issues or MET might cause authentication or routing failures, not negotiation level timeouts. Hence, network path and port accessibility are primary diagnostics. Question 7. According to recent studies, which checkpoint feature allow API-based automation scripts to make changes to security policy while maintaining RBAC role-based access control restrictions per administrator? A. CLI script repositories. B. EMT CLI with session and permission scopes. C. debedit tool in expert mode. D. Smart dashboard legacy APIs. Answer. Correct answer. BEMT CLI with session and permission scopes. Explanation. The MMT CLI API provides session-based, role-aware access to the security management server. Each session enforces the user's RBAC privileges, supports changes with publish discard controls, and is audited. This is best practice per checkpoint management API reference guide. Tools like debedit lack permission enforcement and are deprecated. Smart dashboard legacy APIs are limited to older Smart Center versions. Question 8. In the context of advanced VPN deployment, or should an administrator configure to allow overlapping subnets across VPN domains when interoperating with third-party gateways? A. Configure domain-based VPN with VPN routing per community. B. Use IP pool and NAT for overlapping internal subnets. C. Use route-based VPA with VTI interfaces. D. Apply anti-spoofing exceptions on all external interfaces. Answer. Correct answer. B. Use IP pool NAT for overlapping internal subnets. Explanation. When internal IP ranges overlap between VPN peers, IP pool NAT is used to translate internal addresses into a unique IP space before sending traffic through the tunnel. This avoids routing and connection conflicts. According to VPN Administration Guide, Checkpoint using domain-based VPN of VTIS alone doesn't solve the problem. Address overlap. Anti-spoofing exceptions don't handle namespace conflicts and may weaken firewall policy if misused. Question 9. As a result of prolonged CPU spikes, administrator Junaid is analyzing CoreXL configuration on a multi-core appliance. He notices that all firewall worker instances are assigned to CPUS-03, while CPUS-4.7 remain mostly idle. What should be Junaid's next action to optimize CPU usage? A. Add additional interfaces to CPUS-4.7 to load balance. B. Reassign CoreXL instances using cpconfig to balance worker threads. C. Increase SecureXL buffer size to utilize spare cores. D. Configure core dump settings to analyze CPU spikes. Answer. Correct answer. B. Reassign CoreXL instances using cpconfig to balance worker threads. Explanation. CoreXL uses multiple kernel instances to distribute traffic. If all worker threads are bound to the same set of cores, traffic is not balanced. Using cpconfig, an admin can modify CPU allocations to a spread to various accesses across available cores. This is covered in CoreXL Admin Guide. R.20. Simply adding interfaces doesn't fade decaying. SecureXL buffers and core dumps are unrelated to thread allocation. Question 10. To illustrate this point, suppose Derek configures threat emulation in a hybrid cloud deployment. He wants to ensure fast emulation results while preserving confidentiality of sensitive documents. Which deployment model best satisfies these conditions? A. Public cloud emulation with anonymization settings. B. Full emulation on local SandBlast appliance. C. Inline threat cloud emulation with automatic file upload. D. Emulation via REM-tier-based detection with external relay. Answer. Correct answer. B. Full emulation on local SandBlast appliance. Explanation. In sensitive environments, sending documents to external cloud for analysis may pose data leakage risks. Local SandBlast appliances allow full emulation on-site, providing fast results without compromising data confidentiality. As per threat prevention best practices, local appliances also reduce latency. Cloud emulation, even with anonymous, may not meet compliance policies DDR or HIPAA for certain data types. MTIA-based detection doesn't offer isolation from cloud services. Question 11. During the process of implementing threat prevention, engineer Farrell wants to enable zero-day protection without causing false positives or disrupting productivity. She decides to initially use threat extraction. What is the main function of this blade in contrast to threat emulation? A. It extracts threats using machine learning to rewrite the file. B. It blocks malicious URLs before files are downloaded. C. It removes potentially malicious content such as macros or embedded links in documents. D. It isolates executable behavior in a virtual environment. Answer. Correct answer. C. It removes potentially malicious content such as macros or embedded links in documents. Explanation. Threat extraction is a proactive defense tool that removes risky components, e.g. macros, scripts, embedded objects from files in real time before delivery to the user. This differs from threat emulation, which runs the file in a sandbox. According to Threat Prevention Guide, R.20, threat extraction. Instant delivery of sanitized documents, making it ideal for user experience while preventing potential zero-day threats. Machine learning is not its core technology. Question 12. While examining the VPN logs, security analyst Imran notices that traffic from a specific subnet is bypassing the VPN tunnel despite being included in the VPN domain. The peer gateway logs show no security association for that subnet. What is the most likely root cause of this behavior? A. MEP override is misconfigured on the security gateway. B. Proxy ARP is enabled for the subnet, causing asymmetric routing. C. Route-based VPN configuration lacks VTI interface binding. D. The subnet is defined as an excluded service in the VPN community settings. Answer. Correct answer. D. The subnet is defined as an excluded service in the VPN community settings. Explanation. When a subnet is excluded from VPN encryption using excluded services or bypass rules in the VPN community, traffic matching that exclusion will not be encrypted. Checkpoint's VPN admin guide confirms that excluded services or defined VPN community exceptions override domain membership. Route VPNs and proxy ARP are unrelated unless misconfigured in the routing table. MEP only applies when using multiple gateways. Question 13. As demonstrated by recent system upgrades, Administrator Lucia successfully migrated from R.40 to R.20. Post-upgrade, she notices that policy installation takes significantly longer and logs are delayed. Which steps should she prioritize to resolve this? A. Tune CoreXL settings to increase worker threads. B. Analyze CPU binding for SmartEvent server processes. C. Rebuild the PostgreSQL database used for SmartLog and SmartEvent. D. Disable apes temporarily and test policy install duration. Answer. Correct answer. C. Rebuild the PostgreSQL database used for SmartLog and SmartEvent. Explanation. After an upgrade, PostgreSQL databases used by SmartEvent SmartLog may carry legacy fragmentation or corruption, impacting performance. Rebuilding the database using cpsta AEG export reconfig sut helps resolve these issues. The Checkpoint Logging and Monitoring Admin Guide recommends rebuilding if delays or memory spikes occur. CoreXL tuning helps packet processing, not logging. Disabling IPS is not a root fix and weakens security. Question 14. In what ways can Checkpoint Mobile Access Blade secure sensitive enterprise data on unmanaged mobile devices? A. Enforcing antivirus software on the mobile device before allowing access. B. Preventing users from opening corporate files outside the secure container. C. Disabling SIM cards while inside corporate VPN tunnel. D. Limiting mobile device OS version via smart dashboard restrictions. Answer. Correct answer. B. Preventing users from opening corporate files outside the secure container. Explanation. Checkpoint's Capsule Workspace and Mobile Access Blade use secure containers to isolate corporate data. These containers restrict file movement, clipboard sharing, and open with functionality, ensuring data does not leak to personal apps. Per the Mobile Security Guide, this allows buyout policies without compromising data integrity. Restrictions are not enforced by Checkpoint, and antivirus enforcement is more applicable on laptops via endpoint security. Question 15. Taking into account the structure of Checkpoint Gaia OS, which command provides a comprehensive view of currently loaded kernel modules aiding in troubleshooting unexpected packet drops AOE Elastat B, LMRD, FWUnit D, Bidinfo. Answer. Correct answer B. lsmod explanation. The lsmod command lists all currently loaded kernel modules on Gaia OS. This is useful for confirming that critical firewall components LWSIM and VMod are active. Checkpoint Kernel Debugging Guide recommends this as an initial step when diagnosing drop packets or module misbehavior. Elastat shows statistics, not modules. Midinfo provides module metadata but doesn't show loaded. Question 16. Under the assumption that a connection is being silently dropped at the firewall, what is the best command to use to identify the last rule that matched the drop packet in the firewall kernel? OELIO plus dropper tdump, NESC, fwax or stats, lsd, fwiniter, accept. Answer. Correct answer now, OELIO plus drop explanation. OELIO plus drop provides real-time debug output of drop packets by the firewall kernel and includes the reason for the drop. This is a key step in troubleshooting unexpected behavior. The Checkpoint Advanced Troubleshooting CLI reference prioritizes this over tools like fwunit, which shows flow but not drop reason. dump lacks kernel context and stats is performance focused. Question 17. From a historical standpoint, why is it considered a best practice to configure NAT rules manually instead of relying entirely on automatic NAT in complex environments? A. Manual NAT reduce CPU usage during translation checks. B. Manual NAT rules offer better logging support than automatic rules. C. Manual NAT ensures more granular control and avoids rule shadowing. D. Automatic NAT does not support hide NAT. Answer. Correct answer. C. Manual NAT ensures more granular control and avoids rule shadowing. Explanation. In complex environments, relying on automatic NAT may result in unintended translations or rule shadowing. Manual NAT rules allow precise ordering, better handling of overlapping networks, and visibility. The NAT Best Practices Guide confirms that manual NAT avoids misbehavior due to automatic rule compilation order. Automatic NAT does support hide NAT, but it's less predictable with complex routing. Question 18. Throughout the course of performance tuning, analyst Preya wants to confirm that SecureXL is actively accelerating connections. Which command provides real-time statistics on packet acceleration? A. VP top C fwaxel stats SD netstat. Answer. Correct answer C fwaxel stats. S explanation fwaxel stats. S shows SecureXL acceleration statistics including number of packets accelerated, dropped, and bypassed. This is the most direct command to validate SecureXL efficient. Velocity shows EPU binding, not acceleration. Top monitors general system performance, and netstat provides basic network statistics without firewall acceleration context. The SecureXL Performance Guide recommends this for every performance audit. Question 19. To determine whether a site-to-site VPN is stable, Administrator Leo uses VPHE. What specific function does this tool perform that aids in diagnosing VPN tunnels? A. Displays VPN interface routing tables. B. Initiates like phase 1 key renegotiation manually. C. Opens Smart Console logs in CLI. D. Lists all NAT translations over the VP. Answer. Correct answer. B. Initiates like phase 1 key renegotiation manually. Explanation. VPN2 tunnel utility is used to manage VPN tunnels via CLI, allowing manual reinitiation of like phase 1 and phase 2. It helps when tunnels are stuck, failed, or expired. The Checkpoint VPN Troubleshooting Guide highlights this as a primary tool in diagnosing IKE failures. It does not show routing tables or NATs and smart logs or GUIs. Question 20. Among the various debugging tools available, which combination is best used to trace the packet's full journey through the firewall, including NAT inspection and routing decisions? A. OELEbug Plus or B. FWUnitor with all 4 inspection points. C. TC dump on all interfaces simultaneously. D. Netstat and IFTOP used together. Answer. Correct answer. FWUnitor with all 4 inspection points. Explanation. FWUnitor using all 4 inspection points. IIOO shows the packet's path from ingress to egress, allowing analysts to view NAT translations, rule matches, and final decisions. It is the most comprehensive tool for such tracing per Checkpoint Client Monitoring Guide. ZEbug shows drops only. TC dump lacks context and netstat IFTOP bandwidth. Session tools, not flow analyzers. Question 21. With the advent of dynamic cloud environments, Ismaomi is tasked with automating policy updates as virtual machines are provisioned and decommissioned across different subnets. What checkpoint feature is most suitable for maintaining secure and automated security policies in such environments? A. Identity awareness agents. B. Smart Task Scheduler. C. Updatable objects. D. Dynamic objects. Answer. Correct answer. D. Dynamic objects. Explanation. Dynamic objects are placeholders in firewall rules that represent changing IP addresses or network values. They are ideal for cloud-based or containerized deployments where it shifts frequently. Unlike updatable objects, which rely on external feeds like threat intel, dynamic objects are set programmatically via CLI and integrated into security rules. As per the X Administration Guide, they enable seamless orchestration in rapidly evolving networks. Question 22. In summary of a recent smart event audit, engineer Omar finds that some critical security events are missing despite being logged on the gateways. Which smart event misconfiguration most likely explains this? A. The log indexing interval is set to manual mode. B. Correlation units are disabled under global properties. C. Event policy does not include the specific event types for correlation. D. Smart Console user permissions block visibility into event queries. Answer. Correct answer. C. Event policy does not include the specific event types for correlation. Explanation. The event policy in Smart Event defines which logs are passed, correlated, and promoted into security events. If a log type isn't included, it won't trigger alerts even if it's recorded on the gateway. According to Smart Event Configuration Guide, ensuring event coverage begins with accurate policy inclusion, log indexing, permissions. Correlation unit status are secondary checks once event definitions are confirmed. Question 23. By comparing two checkpoint clusters, administrator Tanya observes that cluster A fails over smoothly during link failure while cluster B triggers the split brain condition. What is the most probable root cause in cluster B? A. Standby node has lower priority than active. B. Both nodes use the same MAC address manually. C. Cluster XL synchronization network is misconfigured or unavailable. D. Cluster members have different software versions installed. Answer. Correct answer. C. Cluster XL synchronization network is misconfigured or unavailable. Explanation. Split brain occurs when cluster nodes lose synchronization and believe the other is down, resulting in both acting as active. A misconfigured or offline sync network prevents heartbeats and state sharing. The Cluster XL admin guide specifies that sync must be functional and isolated. MAC duplication causes ARP conflicts and software version mismatches to alerts, not split brain. Question 24. To better understand high throughput inconsistencies, security specialist Brian wants to confirm whether SecureXL is functioning properly on a gateway with her HEES inspection, which symptom would likely indicate that SecureXL acceleration is being bypassed. A. Increased memory usage in process. B. A consistent drop in packets per second in FWAX or stats. C. Zero connections shown in the smart log logs. D. Frequent full sync state alerts from ClusterXL. Answer. Correct answer. B. A consistent drop in packets per second in FWAX or stats. S. Explanation. FWAX or stats. S shows the number of accelerated packet ATEs. Inspection often disables acceleration due to content decryption and EPR. A drop here implies SecureXL bypass. As detailed in the SecureXL performance guide, such traffic is offloaded to the FF path. Memory usage, logging absence, or ClusterXL state changes don't reflect acceleration status directly. Question 25. As evidenced by EU audit, Carlos realizes that multiple site-to-site VPN tunnels are failing due to certificate expiration. The organization uses an internal for VPN authentication. What should Carlos configure to avoid this issue in future deployments? A. NABRL checking on all VPN communities. B. Configure certificate expiry monitoring via Smart Event. C. Change to PSK authentication to eliminate certificate reliance. D. Replace internal with external to automate renewals. Answer. Correct answer. B. Configure certificate expiry monitoring via Smart Event. Explanation. Smart Event can alert administrators of expiring certificates ahead of time, preventing unexpected VPN failures. The certificate management guide emphasizes proactive expiry alerts as a key maintenance step, while using external CAS may automate renewals. Internal CAS offer more control, disabling certificate-based VPN SE. G. PSSK reduces security ERL checking, validates revocation, not expiry. Question 26. A key distinction between ERL lies in their usage and system impact. Which of the following best describes when to ERG? For long-term debug sessions in production environments. B. For scheduled trace generation with time stamping. C. For quick high-level real-time debugging without complex setup. D. For exporting logs to Smart Event for forensic analysis. Answer. Correct answer. C. For quick high-level real-time debugging without complex setup. Explanation. OELUG is optimized for quick, lightweight real-time packet debugging. It doesn't require turning off acceleration and is useful during live troubleshooting. The checkpoint client debugging reference advises against using it for long sessions in production due to its verbosity. It lacks time-stamping features needed for forensic logging. Question 27. Historically speaking, what was the main design rationale for implementing CoreXL in checkpoint security gateways? A. To assign static firewall policy per CPU core. B. To enable symmetric encryption on multiple interfaces. C. To parallelize packet inspection across multiple kernel instances. D. To avoid NAT conflicts during high throughput scenarios. Answer. Correct answer. C. To parallelize packet inspection across multiple kernel instances. Explanation. CoreXL splits traffic processing across multiple kernel instance W to average multi-CPU architectures, enhancing throughput and performance. per Corex or admin guide, it improves scalability without duplicating firewall policies per core. It doesn't directly address NAT or encryption functions. It's fundamental to processing large volumes efficiently. Question 20. In the modern context of SD-WAN and hybrid cloud, what is the main benefit of using VPN tunnel interfaces VTIS over domain-based VPN array? VTI supports multiple encryption algorithms within the same tunnel. B. VTI allows policy-based routing and dynamic routing protocols over VPN. C. Domain-based VPNs require MPLS while VTI does now. D. VTI eliminates the need for key exchange protocols. Answer. Correct answer, E. VTI allows policy-based routing and dynamic routing protocols over VPN. Explanation. VTI are used in route-based VPNs and support dynamic routing, e.g. lost BGP, over tunnels. This is critical in SD-WAN and hybrid cloud setups. VPN Configuration Guide. Checkpoint highlights VTIS for their flexibility over static domain definitions in traditional VPS. VTIS still use key exchange and standard encryption. Question 29. Examining the consequences of poor NAT configuration, what is the common symptom when using hide NAT incorrectly on multiple gateways for the same internal subnet? A. Duplicate certificate errors in IPsec tunnels. B. Intermittent asymmetric routing across VPN peers. C. NAT rule-based corruption in Smart Console. D. Static ARP entries failing to bind. Answer. Correct answer. B. Intermittent asymmetric routing across VPN peers. Explanation. When hide NAT is applied inconsistently across gateways, return traffic may bypass the native path, resulting in asymmetric routing. This can lead to dropped connections or tunnel misbehavior. The NAT Best Practices Guide warns about using hide NAT across multiple gateways for the same subnet. Certificate errors or ARP failures are unrelated to NAT scope. Question 30. During the process of upgrading from R.40 to R.20, Administrator Yuki wants to ensure a clean rollback path in case of failure. What is the recommended approach before proceeding with the upgrade? A. Export security policy via Smart Dashboard. B. Take a Gaia snapshot and export via WebRTL CLI. C. Backup only the logs and restore if needed. D. Manually copy AWS directory to another server. Answer. Correct answer. B. Take a Gaia snapshot and export via WebRTL CLI. Explanation. A Gaia snapshot captures the entire system state including OS configuration and checkpoint components. It's the recommended rollback mechanism per Upgrade Best Practices Guide. R.20 exporting policy or copying directories does not ensure full system recovery, especially after kernel or software changes. Snapshots are recoverable. WebRTL CLI.